90% of people on YouTube never get to 10,000 subscribers in their entire career making content. And you know what? From the time YouTube was invented in 2005, all the way up until 2020, right before we got YouTube Shorts, 88% of all the videos uploaded to YouTube never broke 1,000 views on the platform. That's how hard YouTube is, and if you're a small content creator and you're getting 1,000 views on a video and you've got 10,000 subscribers, congratulations, you're already successful. You've already beat the majority of people who've ever played the game when it comes to this platform. And today, I want to talk to you about why so many small YouTubers struggle, how hard it is to compete, and what you need to do differently. When I first started taking content seriously in 2013, I ended up making 800 videos in 3 years, and that grew me from 0 to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And back then, I had no idea how difficult that was and how special that is. There are over 50 million channels a month that upload to YouTube actively, and there's 100 million channels worldwide. Social Blade only tracks about 59, 60 million of them because the others are too small and quit too soon to get picked up by the website and its tracking methods. And so when you really look at content creation, not even 1 million YouTube content creators, 1% of people, let alone 2% of the active monthly uploaders, have even gotten a play button, whether it's silver, gold, or diamond. What you may not realize is that there are not even 500,000 channels that have silver play buttons in the entire world right now. In the United States of America, less than 60,000 channels have silver play buttons. So if you're looking at that as the measure of success, you're already looking at less than 1%. The measure of success is actually just even getting monetized on YouTube. There's only 3 million channels in the partner program. Most people on this platform don't make money doing it, and most of them just never get views and never get subscribers. I got another number for you. Here's the truth about YouTube. Did you know that 90% of the traffic on this website, youtube.com, comes from only 3%, the top 3% of channels on YouTube? And it's worse on other platforms. On other platforms, 9% of the traffic comes from less than the top 1% of their creators. So with that level of difficulty, you might feel discouraged right now and say, why do YouTube? I think I want to quit. That's just really too hard. It's impossible. What you may not realize is that it's actually easier to stand out than you think. I measured the results of the top 100 channels in every category in YouTube, and overwhelmingly over 70% of them had all uploaded over 500 videos in the lifetime of their channel, which proves something very important. Consistency matters. And that's not just posting 500 videos just to post and just putting up the most garbage content of all time. You will put out garbage content when you start for those first initial videos. I say it's usually 100 crappy videos, but by video 500, hopefully we're not producing something crappy anymore. Hopefully we got good. Hopefully we learned lighting, we figured out better cameras, better audio, all those things, and figured out how to edit something that isn't sloppy as hell. Now, with that in mind, it just proves that consistency, improving 1% every day, learning your craft, understanding your audience, hanging in there, all matter. And that would matter in any endeavor in life, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a musician, whether you're an artist. You're probably gonna suck the first year you do something, probably even the first couple of years that you do something. If anyone remembers what high school was like, yeah, it takes doing something more for 5 years often to be good at if you weren't born talented. If you weren't born talented or you don't have unfair advantages, yes, it's par for the course that maybe you have to do something hundreds of times and 5 years before you are remotely good at it and anyone wants to give you attention for it. So standing out, something you have to do is you actually have to get good. Some of you, it will take you more time than others because you work a full-time job and you're not doing it full-time. You wanna know the secret behind people who blow up on YouTube? You wanna know the secret behind people who blow up on YouTube? The overwhelming majority of them tend to be under 25 years old, singled, not married, no kids. What could that possibly mean? More time, more energy, more willing to take risk, more willing to risk embarrassment. They also are much more in tune with attention seeking to begin with. Probably also a little bit more fearless, a little bit more shameless. So if any of the content we're all seeing go viral is any indication, you know it to be true. Okay, Roberto, I'm actually more depressed. What do I do now? All right, so my thought on this is that most content creators that are underperforming and they're not getting views to begin with that would lead to subscribers, usually it's because the topic, title, thumbnail, and timing is not working for the audience. So the timing thing is you're not making something that's relevant to people at the time that it's being published. So that becomes very important. The topic is not something that reaches a broad enough audience or a specific enough audience or anything that you have social proof or credibility for. So picking your topic right is important because when you pick your topic, you're choosing who the audience is, you're choosing how big that addressable market is or how narrow and small or niche it is. Like me, I'm not gonna get big viral mega views no matter what I make because the pool of people who are content creators are much smaller than the pool of people who are like Star Wars fans or looking for any kind of entertainment-based content. I'm not making something that just anybody can watch. I'm only making something that a very small group of people can watch. So there is a big difference. And what I'm making videos for is like literally a smaller audience than if you were making fishing videos or if you were making sports commentary videos. So again, there's broad market appeal. The problem with broad market appeal is then, are you making something competitive enough to people already in that broad market? And that's where having the experience and building up and making sometimes hundreds of videos comes in, or people who have unfair advantages that allow them to skip ahead of the process of making hundreds of videos and getting the high quality, aka people who can afford better video editors than you, can afford help and people to like run around with good camera gear. So like money can be an advantage that accelerates people's YouTube growth. And if you're watching this, you probably don't have the money advantage. You don't have the extra manpower and team behind you, which because you don't have the money to pay them. So you can kind of see where I'm going here. Being young and or having money and unlimited time freedom kind of matter. Having experience and expertise could also matter. So those things, if you don't have them, make this a lot more challenging, and it's why you cannot grow fast. People who blow up, you can kind of look at it. Their videos would cost more money to make for one video than you might earn in a month, sometimes that you might earn in a year. So just kind of put this in perspective here. What I would tell you is instead of focusing on what you don't have, focus on what you do have, and then figure out what skills, expertise, experience you have that lets you pick a relevant topic that you also understand. Then how do you make the best thumbnail possible to stop someone scrolling in their phone? So a lot of thumbnails on YouTube, if you're not a graphic designer, have to be photography based. And for them to be photography based, it's not gonna be, oh, I just took a frame out of my video and then took it into Canva. That's not gonna cut it. You're gonna need to pose, and you're gonna need a photo that might require the extra manpower of somebody taking a staged photo for you that sells a story. So it's gonna be storytelling in the thumbnail. Everyone's like storytelling, storytelling, storytelling. Storytelling begins with the bloody book cover and the title. You know, a book is judged by its cover. A book's judged by its cover. So get the title right so that we're like, oh, that looks interesting. And then the cover is like, oh, wait, what's that? You have to get the thumbnail and the title right. It's an attention game. Attention is down to topic, title, thumbnail, and timing. Be relevant. So that is the barrier to views. The next thing is they click on the video or the video auto plays. The video has to look good and the editing has to be in point for that first 30 seconds because again, they're scrolling, they stop, it starts auto playing. They need to see something happening and they need to see some kind of motion happening to be interesting and to catch their attention or their eye, or they're not gonna follow through on this video, or when they do, they're gonna click off of it in less than 10 seconds and they're gonna ruin the retention rate on your video. So they need in that first 30 seconds to be really hooked and appeal. The first 8 seconds out of that 30 is probably the most important. So that's all you have to really sell yourself to somebody. It's the ultimate elevator pitch. Then you've got to maintain that throughout and that level of energy and consistency throughout the video, throughout the middle and the end. So you have to have storytelling, presentation, structure, style, all has to be there, and the video has to sound good in terms of the microphone, has to be good in terms of like the visual quality and the lighting. So again, it can be on point. You can get that out of a $500 camera if you have good lighting, maybe $200 worth of lighting and $100 to $200 worth of audio or less. You can do that. So again, $1,000 setup, par for the course here. To be competitive and to stand out on YouTube, you wanna stand out on YouTube, that's gonna help you stand out from smaller channels that are under 1,000, under 10,000, because it'll make you look like someone who's at 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 throughout, and that will give you a distinct advantage in the market. The other thing is that thumbnail. If you don't have the skill, I'm telling you, either get my thumbnail templates, I'll link to them in the description for you of the video, or hire someone on Fiverr, hire somebody on ytjobs.co. Do whatever you have to do to make a decent thumbnail, because it will make or break your ability to get views on the video. It is the thing that is crushing most small content creators, besides just not having good ideas. That is probably the biggest one. It doesn't matter how well made your video is, packaging sells more than the product's features and benefits does. That's what it really comes down to. It's packaging, my friend. Dress to impress. For the love of God, I promise you it makes a difference. I know you're gonna cherry pick one or two YouTubers that get away with crappy thumbnails. I hate to break it to you, you're not them, and they're probably more attractive. That's just how it is. So if I was literally the most attractive man on earth, I could probably get away with not doing a thumbnail that requires any reasonable effort. Now, if that's not the case and that's not who you are, put more effort into your thumbnails and you might see better results. When it comes to the titles, try to keep them simple, sell it, deliver the point. I will give you some quick hacks, unfortunately, for titles that seem to always work. I find this tactic distasteful. I'm gonna tell it to you anyway. Titles that have conflict, conspiracy, or controversy, or contrarian views, or trigger a lot of curiosity, which is very hard to do. Those 5 things, any one of those or combination of those, tend to make a title stronger, more effective, and more likely to get clicked. I probably do a dedicated video on that. Those 5 things get you more clicks and more views in a title probably than anything else. If you want to look at any video that has over 10 million views in YouTube and you judge it on, does it immediately trigger curiosity? Does it incite conflict or controversy? Does it address something that could be like, oh, conspiratorial, is a conspiracy theory, or is the exposing of an actual conspiracy in some way? Or does it have a contrarian view or a contrarian take? If you look at almost any video that's not Baby Shark or a nursery rhyme or something over 10 million views on YouTube, or not a music video on YouTube, it does one of those 5 things typically. And that's where those 10 million views, that's where those viral views come from. One of the other things that people struggle with in terms of standing out in their niche, they want to stand out while being generic at the same time. If your content is too easy to duplicate and replicate, if there's nothing unique that you offer in terms of value that they cannot get anywhere else or cannot get from a bigger channel than you already, that could be a real indicator that you're not making something that is going to grow because they can get it somewhere else, somebody does it better, you're not standing out. You're asking to stand out while being generic. If you're replaceable as a content creator, then do not be surprised that you're struggling to grow. Growth comes from innovating. That's really what it is. A product that already exists on the market is not something that's gonna see a lot of demand. What you're going to have to do is you're gonna have to create demand. How are you gonna create demand? By chasing what's already working for somebody with more resources than you. How are you going to chase demand when you're making something for an audience where people already know that someone is gonna make a good video and you are a risk as to whether you're gonna make a good video? That's the problem that most small content creators face, and they don't even realize it. They're asking to stand out while being generic. If you want to grow, innovate, don't be generic. Be someone who is capitalizing on maybe an effective strategy or an effective genre, but is doing it in a very compelling, very unique way that maybe borrows an element from another genre, another niche of content, something that we haven't seen before, or put a twist on it because of what you bring to the table with your unique experience or your unique perspective. We've seen reaction videos before, but then we started seeing lawyers do reaction videos and then break down the law for us that's going on in the content that we're seeing. We've seen reaction videos before, but then people like doctors, Dr. Mike or Chris Rayner, Surgeon Chris Rayner, started reacting and bringing their medical expertise to reaction content. This is something that is unique. Graham Stephan, Millionaire Reacts. So now there was a twist on the reaction genre because now experts and people with different perspectives or with a really nice career title that's eye-catching brought what they bring to the table. So now it's not random person reacts to something, it's millionaire reacts, surgeon reacts, doctor reacts, lawyer reacts. So can your experience and expertise be something that gives you an edge in a completely different genre of content? That is novelty and innovation, and that is something hard to compete with, and that is something hard to duplicate because not everyone has your credential. If I was gonna summarize things for you, figure out how to bring value to the market. Value is conveyed and demonstrated by topic, title, thumbnail, and timing, the 4 T's. Now, when it comes to that, something that helps you bring that value might be a unique perspective. So again, it's really convenient if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a surgeon, or a millionaire. That kind of just gives you an advantage there in demonstrating why it's valuable to watch your content. But beyond that, comes down to quality. So high value, then move to high quality. High quality, we're gonna see that in the storytelling, the structure, and the style of the video. A lot of that's gonna come down to production performance and your personality being conveyed on camera and in the edit. And then I would say consistency really matters overall for everybody. That is a quantity game, and that consistency also helps you build up, gain experience, gain expertise, learn more about your audience, collect data, understand how your people respond to things, and then it's gonna really help you with data-driven decisions around tweaking things, figuring out retention, watch time, figuring out hooks, figuring out where people drop off on a video, figure out what thumbnails they'll click on. That's something that only comes with experience. Experience is accumulated through consistency, compound interest on compound inputs. So that basically is why I believe a lot of you are struggling as small content creators on YouTube, and what you can do to address it and finally break through. And you don't need to chase the YouTube algorithm. You don't need to make any sacrifices on an altar to the YouTube algorithm. All you have to do is really fight to put the audience first, step up your game, bring high value, high quality content to the market, and be as consistent as you possibly can while maintaining that high value and that high quality. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the other stuff on my YouTube channel. Also consider checking out my book, Create Something Awesome. It is in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and everywhere books can be sold. As always, stay awesome, and I will catch you on the next video. Take care.